Hi viewers, this is Sriram from KBN College, lecturer in MCA department. I am dealing the subject cryptography and network security, and I am following the textbook, prescribed textbook, William Stallings 4th edition. So if you see the course, cryptography and network security is a course which defines various mechanisms and which defines various algorithms for providing security to your computer resources and provide security while the data is being transferred in a network. So you will see various topics which are related to providing security to computer. So today I am discussing about the introduction chapter. So let us see a brief introduction about various security measures and various security topics. If you see, the information security requirements are gradually changing in recent times. Means they are the security requirements are increasing day by day. So in earlier days, the security attacks are not very much sophisticated. They are very less security attacks. So the security requirements are also lesser. But whereas nowadays the attacks are being very much sophisticated, so you need to provide a very better security requirements to your computer organization, so to protect your computer resources and your important data. If you see in earlier days, the security is being provided to your computer by physical attempts, like they will lock your CPU so that no other hacker, no other opponent will open your system and steal the important data by stealing magnetic disks or magnetic tapes. So they will lock the systems so that no other person can open. But nowadays it is not like. They don't even touch your CPU, they don't touch your computer. Without touching your computer, they will come into your computer through some network, through unauthorized access, so and they will steal your useful information, and also they can damage your resources so that your resources are not useful. They can make any sort of damage. And in earlier days, they also follow the administrative mechanisms, like this personal screening process while any person is being hired. So in the interview process itself, they will try to see the person's attitude. So only the genuine persons, they try to take only the genuine persons. So that will not work, because you can't guess whether a person is genuine or not just by doing interview. And for that, if you go to MNC companies, they will put you one test, like in the test all the questions related to your attitude, the behavior, they will try to check your behavior in the test. So in the test, most of the questions, some of the questions are of similar type. They will try to see whether you are answering the same answer for those similar. So finally they will check out the attitude and your behavior, so that they are taking a genuine person. So those type of administrative mechanisms were followed in earlier days, which will not be very much useful nowadays. And if you see, in recent days we are using the automated tools for providing security to your computer. So these automated tools will work automatically. You won't need to trigger anything for protecting your system. Just once you install that software into your system, it will automatically scans your system. If any unauthorized data or unauthorized thing comes into system, it will check whether it is an authorized one or not, and will access it only. It will allows it to your computer only it is unauthorized. So those type of automated tools are developed nowadays. So like antivirus softwares, various types of antivirus softwares. So we are using these automated tools nowadays to protect your files and important data. And in earlier days we use only the computers for personal use and for specific organization. There is no network connection between the computers. So protecting your one system is not a big task. But nowadays the network is being developed very sophisticated, so very much. So you need to protect your system in the network. So this is very complex thing. So many networks are being connected and you have to protect the whole network. So you have to establish some firewalls so that only the authorized data will be coming into your system. So these type of network security you have to protect. You have to take measures to protect data while the data is being transferred in a network. And if you see, some definitions are given. Let us see what is a computer security. A computer security is a generic name given for the collection of tools to protect your data and to protect from hackers. So computer security is mere a collection of some tools, some automated tools, which will protect your own system. That is called computer security. And the next one is network security. If you see the network security, you have to protect your system while the data is being transferred in a network. So you have to take various precautions, various measures to protect your data while the data is being transmitted. So that is called the network security. And next comes internet security. So internet security is almost similar to the network security, but here you have to protect your system when the data is being transmitted over interconnection of various networks. So it is even more complex than the network security. So interconnection of network in the sense connection of various WANs, connection of combination of LANs and WANs. So here the network is very complex, so you need to take much more complex precautions. So our course intention is to, so if you see the aim of the course, our course intention is to find out the internet security. So you have to focus on the internet security. You have to take precautions in internet security. We will discuss various topics related to internet security in later chapters. So these internet security, what these internet security measures will do is you have to take measures to determining the security violations. So what are the different security violations will happen to your system? You have to determine various security violations. Once you determine, you have to prevent those security violations to come to your system. First of all, try to take preventions so that it will not, any security violations will not happen. So even what are the security establishment you have provided, even the system might fail. So in those cases you have to detect where exactly the security violation happened, and in cases you also need to correct the security violations. So nowadays the antiviruses are coming, like they are detecting the virus and also correcting the viruses. They are also deleting the virus from your system. So these type of automated tools you have to use for a secure transmission of your data. So that is our main course intention. And okay, let us see what is a security trends. So in the security trends you will see how the security is being improved from 1990 to 2001, how the different technologies are improved to counterattack securities, and how security attacks are improved from 1990 to 2001. So here in this diagram you are shown the intruder's knowledge on the x-axis, and in the y-axis attack sophistication. So intruder The another name for intruder is a hacker. So intruder is nothing but a hacker. So how the different attacks are grown? What are the different attacks grown from 1990 to 2001, and how the technology is being improved to counterattack these intruder knowledge, to counterattack these different attacks. According to the trends, it is saying that the attacks are much more sophisticated than the technology improved for counterattacking. So it means that we need to improve our technology even more to counterattack various securities. We are still in a lack of technology to counterattack most of the security violations. So here in this diagonal bar, we are seeing various security attacks that we have seen till now. Like first one is internet social engineering attacks. So the attacks related to the internet social websites and sniffers. This is very important. The sniffing is just like observing the traffic, observing the message contents without doing any modifications to the original content. The attackers will just observe the content and they will gain some information, they will gain some advantage by observing the messages. So this is called sniffing. You can also see packet sniffing, and you are having next packet snooping. Spoofing is so packet in the sense in the network any data is transmitted by packets. As you know, this spoofing means pretending like a different user. So you are imitating, means the person who is sending the packet is not the original user. So the hacker will copy the IP address of the legitimate user and he will pretend like the legitimate user and sends the data to the intended person. So the received person might be in a perception that it is from a legitimate user, but it is not. So it is common even for you, like for your Gmails, you get messages from not exactly from SBI. Some hackers or some people will send messages to you that they are from SBI and they are offering you some job in SBI. So they are fake messages. So they are trying to gain some money by sending those messages. The same way, in the packet spoofing, the attackers will pretend like a original legitimate user and sends packets to intended persons and hijacking sessions. So these attackers will hijack some of the sessions in the internet network and try to attack your system. And GUI intruders tools. There are different tools which will intrude into a graphical user interface, and automated probe scans. So probe in the sense it will automatically generated increases the virus. So it will scan your whole system and affect all your system, and also it will affect the connected systems. Like this, you are having a different various number of attacks we have seen from 1992 till date. So but the technology is still in lack when it compares to the attacker's knowledge. That's what about security trend. And next concept is OSI security architecture. In the sense, this OSI security architecture will provide required environment, and it defines some security requirements for an organization. It is a standard which defines the security requirements. So as you know, OSI is a open system interconnection, and the security architecture is recommended by the ITU-T X.80, in the sense International Telecommunication Unions. It is recommended by International Telecommunication Unions, and the security architecture provides you a systematic way of defining and security requirements. So this security architecture, what exactly it will do is it defines the security requirements required for an organization. Usually the manager who is responsible for security has to define what are the requirements of a security for an organization. So he has to define all the security requirements. So for those managers, this security architecture will be very helpful, so that he can, because security requirements is not same for all organizations. These requirements will vary for different organizations. So this security organization provides you an abstract overview of concepts of this study, of this cryptography. Means this architecture will provide you some brief knowledge, brief concepts of all the cryptographic concepts. Okay. And next one, aspects of security. So what are the different aspects of security? So we can consider basically three aspects of information security. There are major three aspects in information security. They are security attack, security mechanism, and security service. If you see security attack, it is just an action, any action which compromises your security organization, which compromises the security of an organization, which compromises your secured information, is called a security attack. Whatever the action it may happen which affects your data, very crucial data, is a security attack. And security mechanism, it is a process or a method which tries to, it is a process which is designed to detect or prevent or recover from a security. Next one is security mechanism. So this is a process which will try to prevent the security violations. So first of all, it will determine what are the different, and then it tries to prevent the security violations. Even if security fails, it tries to detect the security violations, and then it will also correct the security violations. So there are different mechanisms for security violations. So these are called the security mechanisms. So like antivirus softwares, firewalls, they are all come under the security mechanism. And next one, security service. So these are all the services which will enhance the security of an organization. So the security service will use one or more of the security mechanisms for providing service, because without using the security mechanism you can't provide service. For example, there is a big mall, shopping mall, they have to provide security to that mall, security to the people coming into the mall, and security to the mall. For that they use different mechanisms called, they use metal detectors, scanners, and physically checking the persons who are getting into the mall. So they are using different mechanisms for providing security. In the same way here, in the computer security, the security service will use one or more of the security mechanisms for providing and enhancing the security of a computer resources. Now let us see in brief about security attack. As I said earlier, security attack is an action that which compromises the security of information, or which compromises security of an very important data. It will prevent attacks. So if you see, there is two words called threat and attack. So the two seems like the same, but there is a slight variation. So threat is a chance of having an attack, means there are vulnerabilities of having an attack. So the security providers, they should always see what are the different vulnerabilities of having an attacks. So they have to fill up all the holes of the security. And attack is the actual attack happens, security violation attack is a security attack. That is the main difference between the threat and attack. We're having a different range of attacks as we seen in the security trends. We are having different types of attacks, but we can classify these attacks basically into two types. There are passive attacks and active attacks. Let us see what is a passive attack. So a passive attack is an attack which an attacker or a hacker will hack your data, and he doesn't do any modification to your data. He will just observe the message content and he makes use of that message. Or the hacker will observe the traffic flow in the network, means how the messages are going, what intensity of messages are going, how long the messages are going, and from whom the messages are going to whom. So all these traffic analysis and message content observation is done. This process is called the passive attacks. So in this diagram you are seeing Bob is sending a message to Alice through some internet communication facility. Here the Darth, the attacker, so hacker is the Darth. He is reading the contents of the message which is sent by Bob to Alice. He is not modifying anything, he is just observing the contents. That's why it is a passive attack. And an active attack. So in the active attack, the attacker will do modifications to your message contents, and he will do modifications, and he will also destroy the resources also. So those type of attacks are called the active attacks. So in the diagram, so Bob is sending message the same way. Bob is sending message to Alice through using some internet. The attacker is a Darth. He is just capturing the message sent by the Bob and replace the message to Alice. He just captures. In the earlier in the passive attack, the Darth is only just observe the message. He doesn't do any capture. But here he captures the message sent by the Bob and he replaces that message to the Alice. The same message without modification, even not doing any modification, even it is an active attack because it is captured by Darth and replaying. So replaying of message is also comes under the active attack. Okay, so there are different types of active attacks you can see. One is masquerading. Masquerading is like a type of spoofing, pretending like other user. The attacker will pretend like, here if you see, the Darth will pretend like a Bob and sends to message to Alice. There is a chance of Darth will pretend like Bob and send message to Alice. So that is called masquerading. And sometimes Darth, the attacker, will replay the messages, previous messages, already sent message. So Bob already sent some messages to Alice. So Darth will replay one of the previous message to Alice. So Alice is in a confusion why he get the previous message. So like, and the attacker can also deny the services for any user. Either it could be Bob or Alice. He can deny the services in the sense Bob is frequently using one server. So he is frequently communicating with one server, and if Darth will try to deny the services of the server, means he is making that server useless to the Bob, he cuts the connection. So that is a denial of service. Then Bob is in inconvenience of doing his regular work. So there are different types of active attacks. These are the different types of active attacks. So if you see in the passive attack, the person who affected with the attack cannot even identify that attack is happened. The reason is because hacker is not modifying your content. The person who got affected will not even identify that some damage is happened, because in the sense, for example, you are using an email and this email password is identified by one of your friend, he could open that email and observe your messages from where you are getting what messages you are getting, and he is not doing any modification and he is just signing out. You are not even aware that someone is opening your email. So this is very much because you can't even correct, you can't even change your password because you are not aware. But if when it comes to when your friend modify any, when your friend send any message from your mail to any other person, you can easily identify some other person hacked your password and he is doing some modification, and you can change your password. So that benefit is there in active attacks. Okay, and next comes the security services. As we already discussed briefly about security service, it will enhance the security of any data processing system or any organization, or when the data is being transferred in a network, it will enhance the security. So how it provides security? It will use one or more services of this security mechanism. Okay, the main intention of security service is to counter attack the security attacks, counter the security attacks. The intention of security service is to counter the security attacks. For that, it will use one or more security mechanisms. So if you see, normally the physical activities which we do normally will replicate the computer security also. For example, you usually get a signed document, means that is an authorized document. You will accept only the signed. For example, you get a circular from principal signed by principal, so you will accept that circular because it is signed by principal, otherwise you won't accept. The same way in the computer security also, there is a concept called digital signatures. So by having the digital signature, you can authorize any person. This is called authentication. And in the same way, you will protect your papers, you protect your information. In earlier days, we use paperwork, so you have to protect those books or important papers from disclosure from unauthorized users. So what they will do, they will lock their books in any shelves or anything, so they will protect from disclosure. So in the same way, you have to protect your information, secured information in computer security, and they have to protect from tampering. So you can protect your secured information from tampering, and they will do some, for some type of data, we will do some notarizations from the trusted third party. So if it is get notarized, if your land paper is get notarized, it is an authorized paper. In the same way, in the network security, computer security, you will notarize your documents, or you will notarize your authorization with some trusted third parties. So that's why this computer security is which it will replicate the normal functions which you do in a day-to-day life. Let us see, these security services are standardized by X.800, just like OSS security architecture, which is standardized by X.800. These security services are also standardized by X.800, and so this security services standardized by X.800 provides some terminology. It gives some terminology relating to the cryptography, that is authentication. So authentication is just nothing but an identification of a user, a legitimate user. So it is in the sense assurance that your communicating entity is the one claimed. So you are getting an assurance that the person who is communicating with you is the one who is claimed. That is called the authentication. Access control. So access control is prevention of unauthorized access to your system. Usually this access control you will see in even a college also. So the administrator will give privileges to different people, different privileges. So different people will have different access rights. So that is called the access control. Data confidentiality. This is the actual providing security. So you have to make your secure data confidential. Okay, so that is called the data confidential. Providing your data secure is called the data confidentiality. Data integrity. So data integrity in the sense the message or information you are getting is from a legitimate user and you are getting this data without having any modification in the middle. In the network there is no modification. So that is called the data integrity. So the internet person gets the original content and no modification is done. So it is assurance that data received is as sent by the authorized entity. And non-repudiation. So non-repudiation is a word like it is protecting your resources, means any denial of services. While in the communication you should be in assurance that there is no denial of any services, because when you are communicating different services you have to use different servers service. So you should be in a assurance that there is no denial of any of the server. That is called the providing non-repudiation. All the servers, all the services are fully utilized. So that is the these are the different terminologies which you use in regularly used in cryptography. You will see these points, these words in later chapters very frequently. Now let us see what is a security mechanism. So we discussed about security attacks, security services, and security mechanism. Security mechanism is, as I said, it is a process of providing security, attacking the security violations. Okay, and no single mechanism will support all the services required, because any single mechanism will not satisfy all the security services. You have to use one or more or two or more services for satisfying your security services. So we use different cryptographic techniques for providing security mechanisms. We use various cryptography, which we will discuss in this textbook. In this course we will discuss various cryptographic techniques. All these cryptographic techniques is a security mechanism. So that is the reason why our focus is mainly on security mechanism. It is also standard by X.800. This X.800 divides the security mechanism in two ways. So one is specific security mechanism and pervasive security mechanism. Specific security mechanism, these are the mechanisms which follows the protocol. These security mechanisms will follow some protocols defined by the OSS security architecture, like encipherment. So ciphering the data means modifying the, so making the data confusion. Digital signature, access controls, data integrity, authentication exchange, traffic padding. Traffic padding in the sense adding adding unused bits into the original data, or to confuse the attacker. In the traffic different routes are used so that the attacker will get confused. So that is a traffic padding, routing control. So different in the network traffic, different routes are available. You have to controlling through which route you have to send your data so that it will be secure. All this comes under the specific security mechanism. And pervasive security mechanism will not follow any protocol. So they are like trusted functionalities, like third party, arbiters, security labels, providing security labels to your documents, event detection, security audit trails. So you also do some audit trails to your security, whether your organization is providing sufficient security or not. So some security audit trails will also happen. Security recovery, if any damage happen, how far you are recovering your system. All these mechanisms comes under the pervasive security mechanism. Okay, let us see model for the network security. So this is how the network security is designed. So in the network security, how the sender sends a message securely through some information channel to the recipient. So for this, what the sender will do is he will just first encrypt the message using some secret information, so that it becomes a secure message. Okay, so that secure message is transferred through the information channel. So the receiver receives a secure message, and the recipient will decrypt this message by using the same secret information. So sender and receiver has to use the same secret information for encrypting and decrypting the message. So once he decrypts the message, he will get the original message. So in this way, any two participants will transfer the messages when they are transferring messages in traffic through some information channel. So this is a procedure they have to follow. And if you see for the network channel, information channel, two persons are having access. One is trusted third party, who are the trusted people by both the sender and receiver. So with them there is no problem. They are the authorized persons who will give access to sender and receiver. And opponents are also having access to, they are also having an eavesdropping on the information channel. They always tries to access that secured information in different ways. So we need to protect our secure data from these opponents. So for that we send the message, secure message, only through this information. If we send the direct original message through this, the opponent will easily grasp that, and he will make use of your secure information. So this is the model of the network security. So next, go to the next slide. So let us see the explanation for the network security. So what are the requirements you need for providing this network security? What establishment you have to provide for providing this network security means, first of all, you have to design a suitable algorithm for the secure transformation. So transforming any information securely, you have to first select an algorithm for encryption process. So you have to select an algorithm, and then you have to generate a secret information, which is a secret key. Once you select an algorithm, either it could be DES, data encryption standard, RSA, there are different types of encryption algorithms. You can choose any one of them, and then you have to choose also the key, secret key, and after that this key has to be distributed between the parties, otherwise so information cannot be transformed. So distribution of secret key is also very important, and they have to choose the protocol. So, and this protocol will enable the principle, it will generate some principles so that they will go in a specified process. So not in their own way, they have to transfer the message to some standards, security standards. For that they have to use some principles for transforming the data, secure data. And the next concept is the model for network access security. So the previous slide we have seen a model for the network security, for providing security. Here it is how you will access, how will you provide security when any other third person, any unauthorized person are trying to access your resources. So this is a model. So in this model we use information channel or access channel. So in this access channel is accessible to any user, like even opponents and different third party authorized persons. Everyone will have an access. So this access channel is free of use by anyone. So you need to protect your data secure. You need to transfer only secure information to this access channel. If you try to access unsecure data, they will easily access it. So what you have to do is, before your organization, any organization, for any organization, if they want to secure their resources, they have to place a gatekeeper function in front of their organization, not exactly in front, outside of their organization, so that any unauthorized access to their organization data, to their organization, it will control the access of the unauthorized access. Main example is the firewalls. So the organizations will place firewalls outside of their organization so that it will control access from different unauthorized access, and this will control the access controls to whom the privileges have been given. You can also control some websites not to be visible by the employees. So all these controls you can make it using the gatekeeper function. This gatekeeper function will secure all the internal resources like computer resources, processors, memory, IO, the internal secure data, processes and the software. All these things will be secured by this. And these internal resources will also be controlled by the internal security controls like antivirus. But this antivirus will protect only when the data already unauthorized access comes into your system, but will not control the outside unauthorized access. So that's why you have to place, even you are having an antivirus internal security control, you should also place the firewalls or gatekeeper function. This gatekeeper function is similar to having a gate watchman for any house. The same function is being done. So this is the model of the network access security. Now let us see what are the requirements for providing this network access security. So you have to provide two things. One is the gatekeeper. You should select appropriate gatekeeper function to identify users, like whether a user is an authorized user or not. You should select an appropriate gatekeeper function, and you should also control suitable controls to ensure authorized users accessing the authorized information. So you should also set controls. Not only placing the firewall is not sufficient. You have to set controls. So who are having which access rights, you should also set controls. That is also important. And there is another thing like trusted computer system. Now this trusted computer system is the system which automatically provides security. It is having all the resources, all the equipment which will protect the internal resources, and also from the external unauthorized access. All these things it will control. That is called the trusted computer system. So using this trusted computer system will be very helpful for any organization. So this is the model for network access control. And finally the summary. So we come to an end to this chapter, and in this chapter we discussed initially about the definitions of computer security, network security and internet security, and we also discussed about the X.800 standards for OSI security architecture and security services, security mechanism. Also we studied some these X.80 standard, and we also discussed about the security, various different types of security attacks, security services and security mechanisms. And finally we discussed models for network access security and network security. So with this we concluded this first chapter, the introduction to information security. So with this, thank you for watching this video.